What's the fastest way to find love? I want you to do this. We're going to dive into this conversation today. And some of it's going to be personal because as I reflect back on the last 20 years of my life, my journey has been very painstaking to get to the place where I genuinely believe I have the love of my life right now. And while it might be too early to say this from a definitive place, I probably have to look 20 years from now and connect the dots backward. I can share with you that the journey of the last 20 years has taught me a lot about how to actually look at this process in a much faster way. Now, it's interesting. I was watching a clip from the movie The Materialist, which is about a matchmaker in New York helping people find love. And there's a question that's being asked for her. Is it hard to find love? And she recites the character recites, no, it's not hard to find love. And she goes, but dating is radically hard. It takes a lot of risk. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of self-awareness. So we're going to cover 5 keys to make this experience much faster from a dating and relationship perspective. Because the reality is dating and relationships are the training ground to actually attract love in our lives. We take it for granted. We have this, when I say we, I'm saying the collective, we seems to have this magical belief that, love should just fall in our lap, that Cupid should just hit us in the derriere, and it should just be this easy. And dating should be equally as easy, and relationships should be just as equally easy. But the reality is dating today is a gigantic pain in the ass compared to what it must have been like 50 years ago. I can't know that because I was practically a baby 50 years ago. But certainly when we look at dating today, it's much more complicated. And certainly just even being in relationships is complicated. But here's the secret to finding love much faster. So what are those 5 keys? The first key is fall in love with yourself. Now, it's not that you completely fall in love with yourself, but begin the process of loving oneself. When I wrote my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work. By the way, there's a link to get all the books I recommend. The idea is self-love. Loving oneself is a journey of self-discovery. It's a journey of improving your emotional regulation system. It's a journey of becoming more emotionally mature. And hopefully it's also a journey of having better relationship skills. I can share with you, from the moment I got divorced over 20 years ago, I literally operated from the premise, I need you to love me so I could feel good about myself. I need you to love me so I could feel good about myself. I need you to love me so I can feel good about myself. Now, when I say you, I just simply meant the person sitting across from me on a date. Kind of reminds me of the line in the movie Jerry Maguire, you complete me. See, the idea is to fill your love cup on your own, not chasing from a place of emptiness, from a place of, I can't stand being by myself. It's really, nobody else can do the job of loving yourself unless you do it for yourself. So what does that look like? Loving yourself? Well, first, recognizing that in romantic relationships, women in particular have a propensity to give their power away to a man, that the relationship is all predicated based on how the man views the relationship. And while I certainly don't subscribe to that, I subscribe to a co-creative experience. Certainly men and women should take the lead in their own love life. And ladies, let me just say this, when you want the man to take the lead in your love life, you're giving the job oftentimes to the wrong person. You are in charge of your relationship destiny. And sure, I wish I could be there for you ladies on a first date as your big brother. And I would have a shotgun pointed at the guy's head and saying, what's your intentions with my little sister? And for the men watching, I invite you to be more intentional. Look, online dating has created a portal where we can have easy access to people. But is it just about having a good time? Is it about getting a quick lay? Or do you have the intent to have genuine love in your life? Do you want to have a love partner and a life partner in your life? And I invite the men and women who are listening to this to ask themselves that question. and starting with loving on yourself first. Number 2, shift from seeking to becoming. Shift from seeking to becoming. There's a difference between chasing love and radiating love. See, again, if we have a hole inside of us that says, I need you to love me to feel good about myself, then you are in the chasing mode. You're in a place of desperation. Instead of radiating love by having, there's a quote that I say, create a life so amazing that you become the reality show people want to watch. What does that look like? Having your own hobbies, having your own friends, having a life outside of love, because many people might not experience a romantic relationship. And yet the most important relationship you're ever going to have is the relationship with yourself. So cultivate love within yourself and shift from from seeking to becoming. People catch a whiff of that and they will lean in. When you will become a magnetic attractor for what you want when you shift from seeking to becoming. And if this resonates with you, write a comment about this. I want to hear your thoughts about shifting from seeking to becoming. Okay. Number 3, heal the wounds that block intimacy. Look, I said it before when I talked about self-love and inner work. You can build a palace of love on a foundation of quicksand, but it's time to unpack the baggage of your life. Look at, most of us come to the table with some level of childhood wounds or adult traumas that makes it difficult for us to open up to love. We're blocked in the form of intimacy. Some people have known as an anxious attachment style. Some people have are known to have what's known as an avoidant attachment style. And this is how you attach to another person. Think of, by the way, write down how many relationships you've had that have lasted 3 months or longer, and reflect upon what happened in those relationships. And do you find yourself bitter or jaded? And certainly if you're a person who has had multiple sexual partners, you might be desensitized to love. You might be desensitized to a relationship. In the online dating world, this is known as a body count. And sadly, both men and women have had so many physical sexual partners that it makes it difficult to open up to love. And you got to ask yourself, what caused one to chase all of that? Is there a wound that is inside that needs healing? Folks, I'm here to say, I don't care whether you, by the way, I'd venture to say less than 10% or 15% of the population here in the United States has done any type of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work to heal those wounds. If you haven't read the book, The Hoffman Process, this is a deep dive into healing those wounds. And this is, by the way, doing this work accelerates your capacity to attract love in your life. So actually working on these wounds, whatever they look like for you. Now, when I talk about wounds and traumas, folks, I'm not talking about physical abuse per se, or even severe emotional abuse. Believe it or not, we could have had micro traumas, micro wounds in our lives. Just even an average normal childhood could have had micro traumas that affects you as an adult. By the way, if you've been on this planet for at least 30, 40, 50 years, and you've spent at least 5 or 10 years on social media, you are bombarded within the algorithm to encourage personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. And this is designed to better prepare you. The fastest way to find love in your life is when you do work on yourself. Number 4, practice patience, not performance. I'm going to repeat that. Practice patience, not performance. You know, we're in this performative culture, and I'm here to suggest quit auditioning for the role of the perfect partner. This isn't a Broadway play. This is real life. You know, we have this narrative that it's all based on attraction, entertainment, romance, and physical connection. We must perform in the area of entertainment and romance. We men are expected to do that. You ladies are expected to perform. Performance is not how you're going to attract love in the fastest way. You might have a temporary experience. There's no doubt. Performance can achieve a temporary experience, but being patient, meaning being patient in that asking those deeper questions early on just to see if you're on the same page. One of the things I do in my private coaching, and by the way, if you want some support from me, there's a link below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. One of the exercises we do is called radical honesty, pre-qualifying your prospect. This is about asking those deeper questions from the very get-go. But Jonathan, I'm told to just sit in my feminine energy and wait for a man to lead. I'm not supposed to ask questions because that's an interview. Do you realize dating is about getting to know someone? How do you get to know someone? Asking questions. It is an interview. In fact, quite frankly, it's an interrogation. But what is an interrogation? It's about getting to the truth of a person. That's my invitation for you, is to get to the truth of another human being by asking deeper questions and being patient around this process, not accelerating the process through performance. And number 5, the fastest way to find love: trust divine timing while taking aligned action. Trust divine timing while taking aligned action. Part of it is faith, but part of it is effort too. You can't bully the universe into delivering your soulmate by Amazon Prime. You must also manifest love. And you can't manifest love by binge watching Netflix with your dog or cat or your pet. And what I mean to say is taking inspired action, taking line action. Look at whether you like it or not, online dating is the key. Online dating right now is the #1 place to meet a potential life partner. Online dating is the #1 place to meet a potential life partner. So you may hate it, you may dislike it, but it's still the best place. And I'm here to say people are falling in love all the time through this medium. Cindy was kind enough to post this for everyone. Love yourself, shift from seeking to becoming, heal the wounds that block intimacy, practice patience, not performance, trust divine timing while taking aligned action. So I want to be very blunt with everybody. I've been at this for 20 years to find the life partner that I genuinely believe I have in my life right now. It's been painstaking. It hasn't been easy. It's been a lot of work, but that work has come with, the journey has been so amazing. Prior to my current life partner, I had 2 significant relationships, beautiful relationships, collectively 8 of those 20 years. Is that about right? 6 years plus. And I had a number of, a lot of first dates with people. I did a lot of personal development, self-help, spiritual work. I did the Hoffman process. I did insight and seminars. I spent half a decade in so much pain in the early stages where I went to bed wishing I didn't wake up. I did drugs, alcohol. I chased sex. It's one of the reasons why I can coach about and I went through a contentious divorce. One of the reasons why I can talk about this, because I share from a lived experience. Folks, I don't want you to have to wait 20 years. I'm here to encourage a faster way to get there. If I could easily, if I look back now, I could have condensed those 20 years probably down to 5 years if I know what I know today. But sometimes we have to go through. That's what we have to go through to get what we want. This is the dating and relationships is like weight training at the gym. It's like exercise. If you want to change your body, if you happen to be hundreds of pounds overweight, you're going to have to do radical work to get what you want. And this fantasy that we live in, that love should just be handed to us on a silver platter, is a crock of shit. It is. I mean, it's the fantasy many people live in. Excuse me for screaming. I'm just very passionate right now. What's going to shift all of this? I'm saying the work is to really get clarity on what are your core values. What do you really value most? What are your core needs in a relationship? Someone write that down, your core value and your core needs in a relationship. Have clarity on that and ask yourself, how can I identify that in another person? How can I identify that? Because you guys are living in a fantasy world that chemistry is going to equal relationship success. And again, I'm going to say this again, that's a crock of shit. Your core value, your core needs. Also, what is the vision you have of a relationship? What do you want it to look like day in, day out? You guys are operating from a fantasy like men are supposed to know all this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look at a calendar and write out what days of the week are you spending together? What are you doing together? Visualize this for a future. Have an idea of what that vision looks like. Also, you have to recognize for those of us in midlife, and I say midlife is after baby making years and before retirement. That's the age demographic I speak to. Look, at most of us have a fully curated life and somebody else has a fully curated life. And if you can't blend lives together, it's going to be very problematic. The idea for those of us in midlife is to recognize that lifestyle compatibility plays a huge role in relationship success. But Jonathan, if we love each other, magic fairy dust will make it all work out, because magic fairy dust has been working for billions of years. Folks, if magic fairy dust was the antidote, meaning love will just solve all your problems, then why is the divorce rate so high? Why are people so miserable? Love doesn't solve the problems. Being aligned in your values, your vision, your needs, and most importantly, and lastly, emotional maturity. We have a population of emotionally dysfunctional people. And here's the funny part. Everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else. You're emotionally dysfunctional. You're emotionally dysfunctional. They're not looking at those three fingers pointing back. For many of you watching, you think you're so emotionally mature and you have such good relationship skills. You have such good communication skills. Watch an episode of couples therapy. It fascinates me how many of the men and women are doing this, pointing the finger at their partner when they should be looking in the mirror. Do you know what? By the way, to have a successful relationship today, it takes ninja level skills from a communication perspective. I highly recommend reading 2 books. Read the book Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, and read the book I Hear You by Michael Sorensen, The Surprisingly Simple Skills Behind Extraordinary Relationships. Folks, many of you have a fantasy believing that you're good at communicating. And just for the guys listening, just because you tend to be logical doesn't mean you're good at active listening, doesn't mean you're actually paying attention to your partner. So just own up. Just because you have logical thinking doesn't necessarily make you any better at this than anyone else. And I want to end on this note. Folks, if you want to change your love life the fastest way possible, not only do I invite you to look at these 5 keys I just shared, I'm inviting you all look in the mirror and do what this book title says. What does that book title say? Shut up, stop whining, and get a life. By the way, this book by Larry Winget, A Kick Butt Approach to a Better Life. I read this 20 years ago, one of the first things I read after my divorce. And I can say to this day, it still plays a huge role in my life, because I'm going to tell you something. Whining about this just keeps you stuck. Have a vision for a beautiful, loving, passionate, romantic, playful relationship in your life. I invite you all. In fact, I send a prayer to you all. For everyone listening, here's the vision I have for everyone. That you have amazing relationship where the chemistry between the two of you, both energetic, intellectual, emotional, creative, and physical, is off the charts. That's my invitation for everyone. Also, The communication between the two of you is wonderful, where the banter can go on for hours and hours at a time. And you have the capacity to resolve conflicts and differences with ease because you're coming from a place of love, and your lifestyles are blendable with one another through compatibility, not just because you love sushi and pickleball, because you can blend your lives with ease together, and you have the emotional maturity to navigate the bumps along the way. And lastly, you build the deep roots of trust through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, and intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy that leads to the deeper roots of trust, where you can either choose to live together or live together, or get married at some point, whether it's spiritual or legal. God, universe, spirit, I invite that for everyone. That's the vision I hold for everyone watching today. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what I just shared. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's links to follow me on Instagram, social media. Get my dating vows listed all below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, there's a little chat box in the corner. Write the word question and post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Aslay. That's a picture of him right there. He's my son who passed away over 7 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process Insight Institute and scholarships to coaching as well. And our goal tonight is $50. We appreciate some love. And if you want to join the Love Seat, you can speak to me directly right now. There's a link I just posted there. Let's have a chat. Let's see if I can't help you. If this resonated with you, I'd like to hear what you had to say. It looks like Jerry says this is sinking in. I'm so happy to hear that. And Melt says the color of your shirt looks great on you. Thank you so much. So Jerry wants to know, how's your new relationship going? I am deeply in love with this person. She is a wonderful, fantastic human being. We're going on, we're into our 4th month into this relationship. And it is going very well. I can see us living together at some point. I don't know about marriage yet. I mean, it's funny. I think right now, not that I don't want to get married, but I'm in a space, and I'm just reflecting upon this out loud. Not that you asked. I have mixed feelings, but I have a feeling, after a year or two, I'd absolutely want to be married and build a life with her. I think we're still building the deep roots of trust, but I know that is something I want in my life. So I'm kind of projecting a bit in the future, but it's going great. I mean, we have amazing, oh my God, I got to tell you something. We have amazing emotional connection. We have amazing intellectual connection, and we have some really good sexual connection. I love the sex between the two of us. What's the point of being in a romantic relationship? I think it's so you can have great sex together. And I'm so grateful that that's what we're experiencing. So to answer your question, Jerry, I hope that answers it. Gina says, yes, you have to believe you'll find someone if that is what you want. Yeah, you have to be in that space of belief. Jerry wants to come back and say, I'm happy for the both of you. Thank you. By the way, I'm here to answer questions. If you have a question, write the word question and post the question thereafter. It's the best part of the show in my mind. Or join us live. I'd love to have you. Okay. Gina wants to know, does she watch your show? I take it she feels the same way about you. I'm really glad you found someone, and she does seem like she is the one for you. On occasion, she comes across my videos. It's not like she's watching every single one, but if there's something I felt like would be important. I might suggest she watch this one. I actually would like her to join me on a video at some point. She's very brilliant. I mean, she journals. By the way, if you read her journal, she's read a few passages to me. She does an amazing job of self-reflection. I would love for you to read. I'd love for you to hear how she kind of does this duality where she's talking to herself in her journal. And I think she's brilliant. I mean, she has fantastic insight. She comes always from a place of love. It's what I like about her. She had 2 rules for me. She said, always come from a place of love and say what you mean and mean what you say. It was kind of her 2 rules early on. And I do my best to adhere to those rules because those are kind of rules that I live by as well. So yes, she does watch my show on occasion or watches my videos. And she's very supportive and I'm very supportive of her. She's an artist. I think I showed everybody this a few months back. This was my Christmas present. She painted this for my my birthday present. She painted that, and the title of it is called "Feeling Seen." Feeling Seen, and it's right there on my. I have a spiral staircase, and I see it every time I come up to my office. So I'm very proud of that. So yeah, I'm very proud of that. And again, Jerry says place of love. By the way, here's another thing she drew. It's called The Muse. I love this piece. Isn't she an amazing artist? I just love this piece. My gosh. Reminds me of my friend Karina, by the way. All right. Jerry wants to point out that that is beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. Melt wants to point out, yes, to the journalism technique of Girlfriend uses. Yeah, there's this, she does this great job of self-reflection going back and forth. It's a wonderful exercise. It's like if you, it's like you are the actor on stage, but you're the audience member witnessing what the actor is. You're more like the critique of the acting going on to some degree, but it's coming from a not a criticism perspective, from a critique, a healthy critique perspective. So it's a great exercise to do that. If any of you have done that, I certainly welcome that for you all. All right, anyone wants to join the Love Seat? I'm posting a link right now. I'd love to have a conversation with someone. Click that link, jump on. We can have a little conversation. Also, if you have a question for me, post a question. Otherwise, we're going to have a very short broadcast tonight. And I'd love to, Pammy says, she is a great artist. Thank you so much, Pammy. I appreciate that. All right. Listen, if we don't have a question pop up in a moment, we're going to have a very short video, and I'd love to have a dialogue with you guys. So jump on, ask a question. It would be a lot of fun. Let's see if I have any questions here. Bear with me 1 second. I think I have some. Let's see. All right. Okay, here's a good one. Someone wrote to me and said, I hear people say take it slow, but sometimes I feel like if I don't move things along, I'll lose them. What does taking it slow really mean for someone like me? So I've heard people criticize that I've rushed this relationship. And I'm like, I don't even know the difference between slow and fast. You know, what is that perception? Well, I certainly believe don't give your heart to someone until you've built trust. So instead of saying take it slow, I look at it this way. Don't give your heart to someone until you've built trust together. Now, how do you build trust? Social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, even traveling together. It takes time to build trust, no doubt about it. But once trust is built, whether you do that in the first couple weeks, or it takes, 10 or 12 to build trust, I think it's not about the speed. It's about it's about connection. Are you aligned with each other? Are you spending regular time together? The more people spend time together, the faster it is they get to know one another. I'm a big proponent of, if you're going to fail fast. Don't make it drag out for 6 months. You know, get to know someone as fast as humanly possible. That's my methodology. All right. Poultry Flowers question. I have a feeling relationships are dying. Can you offer some words of encouragement? You know, I can understand why you feel that way. And certainly, I think the necessity for survival in the context of a relationship is dying. There's no doubt about it. There isn't the same need as it used to be. So from that vantage point, I would agree. Now, words of encouragement. Look at, folks, I am blissfully in love. It is worth every painstaking experience I've had to go through to get here. And the one thing, if I can give you encouragement, is I never gave up. My North Star was to attract a life partner. That has been my North Star. And I invite everybody to have that as their North Star and work within that context. Work within that context. Cindy, I'll be with you in a second, okay? And once you have a North Star, then do all the aligned and inspired action to achieve your goal. And do it with happiness, do it with joy, do it with reverence, do it with love. Because if you're bitter and jaded about it, you're just going to delay the process much longer. So I hope those are words of encouragement, Poultry. All right, Cindy's in the house.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm messy because I came from the beach. It was 80 degrees in Wisconsin, and we take advantage of that here.
Okay.
So
Cindy, really quickly, since this is recorded,
and I'm
it's
nervous.
going really quickly, Cindy, since this is recorded and may be reused again, do I have your permission to have this conversation with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you got for me?
Okay, what I have for you is I'm in an 8-month long distance relationship. The distance is approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes. We share that every other weekend.
Okay. I'm writing this down. Okay.
Oh, sure. I know. I understand. You have all the details. We are entering conversations of moving together. It's a little scary. We're trying to move possibly somewhere in the middle of that distance because we are concerned about our families.
Okay. Okay.
We have very similar values. We click in all the ways that you just described about your relationship, but there are some differences that I'm concerned about, which we have talked about, but I think until you're actually in it, you don't know.
Okay.
He is a vapor. I don't care for that at all. He knows that. He's trying to quit. I expect that to be done outside.
Okay.
I feel like it's done outside here, but it's a little different at his place. That is a big concern, and I don't like this at all. And I'm like, the other thing is, and I know
when you say you don't like it,
Cindy,
really quickly, when you say you don't like it, do you don't like it from a smell perspective? You don't like it from a health perspective? What is the core piece that you don't like? Just so I understand.
The core piece is more health related. I am a very health focused person. I'm a vegetarian. I take very good care of myself. I see that as actually putting poison into your body. So yeah, that's a huge, but I also have done a lot of work, a lot of self-help, and trying not to judge people for things like that. I've been very harsh and judgmental a good portion of my life, and I don't think that you should rule people out for that, yet it's a very big difference.
Okay,
so I don't want it around me.
Okay, so what we're really talking about is a value difference for you, just so I have clarity around that. Okay.
Definitely. definitely.
So
But
what
he's
else?
an excellent person in all.
Okay. So what would you like help from me? Like, where do you want to take this conversation?
Well, we are having a very deep conversation this upcoming weekend about finances and exactly who has what, because we
Okay.
kind of know, but we need to lay our financial cards on the table.
Okay.
I
Okay.
feel like
Very
this needs to
important.
be an important, this, yeah. And we've
Okay.
had this conversation around vaping, but I really feel like I need to reiterate it, not in order to beat him up or to expect him to quit, because you can't make people do things. I
Yeah.
understand that. But
Okay.
I also need to be respected in my house, if that's our house, and not have that happen.
Sure. And I know many
So
people,
it's a big,
yeah, vaping is a little different than actual cigarette smoking, as an example, just because there's more smell associated with it and toxicity and that sort of thing. But I understand your point of view. So what are you looking for help from me on how to have that conversation with him, or whether or not you should have that conversation? It sounds like you've spoken to him about it.
I have, and I know I have to have the conversation. And actually, his argument, and this is true, it does not stink. The smoke kind of dissipates. I still just do not want it around me. I do not want
Okay.
that chemical around me. So
Okay.
I
Now,
guess
is this an
I'm,
app? Let me ask you this. Is this an absolute deal breaker for you?
it was when I started, and I didn't know that he did it, even though I had on there no smoking. He views it slightly differently. He does respect my boundaries here at my apartment, and he does not vape in here. Um,
Okay.
I have to have that, like, I don't want to say I have to have a written agreement, but pretty darn close. And
Okay.
I guess as I speak this, I'm looking at you as a professional, and I'm looking for you to say, this is a pretty big thing, or it's something that can be overcome. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
So,
know.
okay. And again,
It's just because we really,
let me just be clear in answering this question, to the extent that I'm some sort of therapist or professional, I don't come from that kind of background, but I have my own perceptions about and I have some thoughts that I'll share with you in a moment. Now, really quickly, Pam says, I won't move in yet. Not at all. I believe it's too soon. So she's sharing her opinion. Jerry's asking, is it a deal breaker? We just discussed that. And Pam goes on to say, I think it's too soon to move. If you can't look the other way and accept him as he is, okay, don't think you do. So anyway, just want you to, I wanted to share what a few other people are saying. So as far as timing on moving in together,
thank you.
I want to address that first, because here's the thing. Whether you moved in together tomorrow or you moved in together 2 years from now, I don't believe it changes the trajectory of your relationship, the time of moving in. It's been 8 months. You've seen each other regularly. You've spent time in each other's home. You're in the process of discussing the financial components of all this, which are all the pieces of the puzzle. And I suspect that this would most likely happen in the next, 2 months to 6 months, versus it's not going to happen day after tomorrow.
No,
Certainly, if you picked a place
no,
in
we're actually
between.
talking.
Huh? What?
I was just going to interject and say that we're actually talking about doing it approximately a year from now. We are not rushing into this.
Okay. And to some degree, okay. So with that said, which, would be approximately a year and a half or so into your relationship, I don't see from, I wouldn't be concerned if anyone judged you. And certainly my perception is, if I said this earlier in the video, if you're going to fail, fail fast. And what I mean to say, if it's not going to work out, sooner to find that out, the better. And I think living together is one of those things. Okay. With that said, I think the way I would approach the vaping is to simply say to my partner, I don't know his name. I don't know if you feel free, comfortable sharing it, but let's say you were speaking to me and you could say something along these lines. Jonathan, one of the most important values in my life is health. And that is because, I'm at an age where, particularly in my romantic relationship, in my relationship with you, I would like us to live a fairly long time together. Particularly because I just, I think, I'd rather not have a short-lived relationship. I'd have a relationship that has some longevity to it, some legs to it. And I believe vaping is unhealthy from a physical standpoint, that it affects your lungs, that affects your heart, that affects parts of your body that will diminish your life. So from a value-based perception, I would really appreciate, for the health of our relationship, is that something you could either cut back completely or diminish it substantially before we consider moving in together? Because I'm not sure I want to invest much more into this relationship, because I'm not looking to be someone's nurse at some point, and have and see how he responds to that. Now, I don't know I would do my research first to find out the health ramifications for vaping. I'd want to know I'd want to spend some time, if that's the discussion you're going to have with him, I'd want to do some homework, some research on what vaping does to your physical body, so you can actually have some legitimate, because if he comes back and says every study shows vaping doesn't affect you, well, then you really have no argument other than you have a judgment around vaping because you don't do it. Well, that's not the same as a value. That's a judgment. So I'm just saying, right. I don't know enough about vaping to know either way. But if I were you, I'd do my homework before I have this conversation with them. Now, Paltry seems to point out, I think she's getting cold feet and she's using vaping as an out. That's an interesting perspective, Paltry.
No.
And well, I can understand that you're looking for something. I mean, some people are addicted to drama. Paltry, Cindy, I'm not suggesting that for you. But some people are looking for things to pick at because they're more addicted to the drama. And again, I'm not suggesting that for you. But if you're going to have a heart-centered conversation, and just remember, if it's sincere and from the heart, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person,
Right.
So
and
how does what I just shared
that conversation?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty much along the lines of what I was going to say. I have done research. Vaping to me is just as bad as cigarettes. It doesn't smell.
Wait. Wait. Time out.
It looks like little.
Okay, really quickly. You said it's the same to you. I don't, but that's not that's a perception on your part. I'm not suggesting you're right or wrong, but you're saying it's the same to me. But it's not the same, because smoking actually has smoke and it gets in your clothes and it gets in your body. I don't know if vaping does the same. So they're not the same.
That would be his argument. Yeah. His argument would be that it doesn't smell. And he said that.
Hey, Google. Is vaping as dangerous as smoking? Let's see what it says. I'm just curious.
Vaping is not as dangerous as smoking, but it is
so
not.
So am I now that you did it.
Vaping exposes you to fewer toxic chemicals than traditional cigarettes, which contain over 7,000 chemicals, many of which are poisonous. However, vaping aerosol contains harmful substances, including nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing chemicals.
So I mean, this is just what I mean, just on a quick research. Witty Mystic says that the American Heart Association said vaping is not good for your heart. So again, if you have written documentation when you have this conversation, then if he trivializes it, then you have to ask yourself, if he doesn't value your needs, if he doesn't acknowledge your needs, then you got to really then look at, does this person really genuinely care about the longevity of the relationship versus he's just enjoying the time it is right now? Because here's the thing, when you, again, this is a big enough subject where I could see this being a deal breaker. I mean, I could see this, and when I say a deal breaker, a must have, meaning being with someone who doesn't share this with you. You had an opportunity to address this months and months and months ago. Sounds like you didn't know it right off the bat. Huh? You did what?
I did address it initially. I did have the conversation with him initially. I said that was clearly on my bio. And he said, well, you didn't, or he does think vaping is a little bit different.
Well, again,
disagree.
even what I came up with, it is different compared to smoking. So from his vantage point, but at some point you knew about this months and months and months ago. So, you know, the fact that you've allowed it on some, like you didn't make it a deal breaker then, I'm inviting you to really ask yourself, because do you want to stay in a relation, you know, and it's okay, you can stay in this relationship, but just recognize that if this is something that he doesn't want to change, then you either accept it or you move on, because that is on you. But if you're coming to me and saying, well, Jonathan, he has to change for me to love him, then that's not a recipe for relationship success.
Nope, I'm not there. I'm not of that belief at all. In fact, I have been very accepting of it, because all of the other qualities and the quality of the relationship, which I didn't really explain, is everything that I've always wanted. This just happens to be part of him that I don't care for.
I would lay your facts out as to, and I would have as many facts as possible to say, this is important to me from a health value. And, you know, Witty Mystic says, well, maybe you shouldn't live together. You know, I mean, you could certainly do this, but an hour and a half is a long drive, or hour and 3/4, I should say. That can wear on you, and it doesn't really allow for, here's my thing is, it doesn't allow for spontaneity, it doesn't allow for genuine support. So I can understand your desire to live together, the fact that you're going to wait for a year. This is all about how to speak your truth, and my invitation for you to do it first. Do your research first. Come from a place of heart, come from a place of understanding how important it is to him. Say, I understand this has been a part of your life and it's important to you, but also, you know, if eating, you know, if eating chocolate every single day, you know, not chocolate, but if eating ice cream every day got you fat, would you do it? You know, like, this isn't healthy. And I think you have a very valid, not argument, but you have a valid point to say, this isn't good for your health. And if it's not good for your health, you know, if I was doing something unhealthy, how would you respond to that? Invite him, come from a place of curiosity. If I was doing something healthy, wouldn't you be protective of me? This is me being protective of you.
I like that. That's an excellent point that you ended that. So thank you.
All right, Cindy. Well, thanks for jumping on. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. It was scary.
Okay. Well, I hope keep us posted and let us know. I'm going to clip this and post it again. So keep us posted and let us know how it goes. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So much. All right. So Cindy just shared with us something very important, very valuable, and that is how to have a difficult conversation. In this particular case, something's come up in her life that feels like a deal breaker. certainly related to the smoking or the vaping, excuse me. And this conversation was how to have the difficult conversation. First, I recommended she do her research before she has this conversation. Next, I would say when you open up the conversation, come from a place of love, come from a place of understanding. Start with understanding why that is important to him. Okay, because this is something he's become accustomed to. Most likely there is some addiction on his part. I mean, I would certainly try to ascertain what that might be. I know for each person it's different. It might be he just needs to switch to sucking on a lollipop instead. I don't know if that's the case. Come from a place of need. In other words, her need is the value around health, and come from that heart-centered space. And then hopefully he creates a dialogue with her. If he dismisses her, then I would be really concerned about what else in her life he would dismiss. And so from that vantage point, I genuinely hope he comes from a place of love, a place of understanding. And if they do choose to live together, let's hope he's weaned himself over the next year before that occurs. By the way, I'd love to hear what you thought about what I shared with her. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. By the way, if you had value from this conversation, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Follow me on Instagram. Get all the books I recommend. They're all listed below. And Pammy says to Cindy, best of luck. We all, even Liz is giving you a thumbs up, okay? Hey, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank everyone that joined us live. And certainly I want to thank Cindy as well. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful evening. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.